Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am making several cards using the Scrappin' for Less Flavor of the Month 2018 card kit. This one is called In the Countryside and it features a variety of collections with a country theme. So I'm going to be following the sketches that are provided on the website, and for card 1 I am using collection 1 and I am following sketch 1. Collection 1 features papers by Carta and the collection is called Country Kitchen, so I'm going to be using those, and I went through and picked out the 2 that I wanted. I've also cut a piece of MFT cardstock, which is part of the kit, and I've cut the plaid paper down. That is just me hoarding paper right there. I've cut the middle of the paper out so that I don't have to waste that piece, because I'm going to put a really adorable paper on top. So I really love this paper collection that I went and just ordered the whole pad for myself. I mean, who doesn't love those chickens? Seriously. The burlap is also part of the kit, and I took a piece of it, I've cut it down, and I've adhered the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive so that I can just press that right into place. And this stuff is pretty strong. So I just go ahead and trim off the excess from the card panel. And then I'm gonna take the ephemera that came in the card kit, and I'm using that instead of the stamp. So I've picked out the one I want. I'm tying a piece of twine, and then I take Vintage Photo Distress Oxide and I just rub it, some of it on the edges, just to give it a little bit of dimension. I do that to both of the papers, or both of the pieces that I want to use on my card. And it's really not noticeable on this piece, but I go ahead and do it anyway. So the tag, I have it on some craft foam, and I'm getting a glue dot to secure the twine to the back. And then I use the dies from, I forget where they're from. It's Rooster, Hen, and Chick dies by Frantic Stamper. And I've cut those out of some cream colored cardstock just to tie it in a little bit more to the look of the card. And then I'm inking up the edges, again, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I think those die cuts really finish off the card. I use some multimedia mat to secure those down. And then for some odd reason, I always do everything in 3s or 4s. So the little chicken family, there's a rooster, there's a mama hen, and there's 2 babies. Perhaps because I have 2 babies. And then I'll add that panel to top folding A2 size card base, and that will complete this card. So for card 2, I am using collection number 2, and I'm following sketch number 2. I'm using the papers from Doodlebug. This collection is called Down on the Farm, and I'm also going to be using the stickers that came in this collection. So I've die cut all of my papers off camera just to save a little bit of time in this video. And I chose, for the base, I chose this really bright blue background paper, and then I'm adding the checkered, or the gingham red and white for the strips. And then for the sketch shows a strip across the bottom. I chose to use the jute cord for that. It made sense. So working on the focal point panel, I took a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock and I've cut it out with a circle die, and then I'm taking Distress Oxide Salty Ocean, and I'm just creating a bit of a blue background. And then I'm using my Copic markers to just draw in some grass. And I'm really just making a mini scene. So then I take these stickers that were part of the collection, and I'm going to use my anti-static powder bag, and I de-stick them so that I can add foam squares to the back and pop them up for a little bit of dimension. So I'm gonna use the little farmer boy, the horse, I'm gonna use the sun, and the little fly, or some critter. I honestly can't tell what it is. It looks like a fly. Of course, it's not the most appealing insect to put on a card. Anyhow, I take the stitch scallop die cut that I cut out using some red paper, and then I adhered the little scene panel to the top of that. I popped the entire thing up with foam so that I could have it lay flat over the jute cord, and then I'm going to take the entire panel and add some more fun foam to the back of that so that I can pop that up further and it will lay flat on the card base. Now I think my camera either ran out of battery or memory or something, but I did not show where I added the sentiment. The sentiment came from the Ephemera pack that was part of that collection, and it reads, "You are my sunshine," and you'll see it in the still picture, but I just didn't happen to catch it on camera. Okay, so for card 3, I am using collection number 3, but I am using sketch number 4. And I'm using the stamp set that was part of the collection. This one is the Scrappin' for Less Piggy Picnic stamp set. And I'm stamping out all the images that I think that I want to use. I'm going to be Copic coloring these, so I'm stamping the images onto Nina's Solar White cardstock. This is what I learned to color on, so this is what works for me. I don't show the coloring. It's nothing fancy, but I will have the colors that I use listed on my blog, which I will link to down below. So now I'm going to create the card panel, and I've cut a piece of it's the MFT Sour Apple cardstock. I've cut a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card out of that so that I can add that to my base. And then I use the Tiny Checks MFT paper, and I've used 2 different colors. One is like a soft pink and the other one is green. I'm taking the panel that I've cut and added the green gingham paper to, and I'm creating almost like a sky. I'm using my Clarity brushes to do that because I really want a soft blend. And I'm using Distress Oxide Salty Ocean. So I'm going to pop that piece up, and I'm using Fun Foam to do that. So now I'm going to arrange my little scene, and I don't know if they have the dies for their stamp sets, but I do have a scan and cut, which is one of my favorite things in my craft room. So I'm just arranging the little piggies and their picnic basket where I think they're gonna look good. And I noticed in a lot of the inspiration cards that the design team made, everybody colored their piggy eating a watermelon except me. It looked like a pizza, so I colored up my pig eating the pizza instead of a watermelon. It can happen. So the sentiment is also from that same stamp set, and I'm using a Lawn Fawn banner die to cut that out if it's just perfect. And then I go ahead and I'd adhere the sentiment down. And then I add the scene panel with some really strong tape down to the card front. And then for my stash, I add a few enamel dots to complete the card. So for the last card, I'm using sketch number 4. No, I'm using sketch number 3, collection 4. And I've again did all the die cutting off camera just to save a little time. I used a My Favorite Things stitched rectangle die to cut the flower panel out, and then I used a Your Next stamp die to cut out the squares. I'm taking the little chicks from the Barnyard stamp set. This one's by Avriel, and I'm stamping each of the chicks in the square. I also take the butterfly that's in the same stamp set, and I stamp out a butterfly in each one, next to each one of the chicks. So again, I'll Copic color these images, and I will list the colors that I used on my blog, but in the interest of saving a little bit of time on these long videos, I've skipped the coloring out of this one. So I wanted to ground the little chicks, and I decide I'm just gonna draw in a little hill, and I'm using my, it's called EK Tools something pen, journaling pen, to draw in just a little hills for the chicks to sit on. And then I've cut a piece of banana split cardstock. This all comes in the kit as well, and I've adhered that to the card base, and then I've adhered the pattern paper with the chicks to that. I've also die cut a heart from Lawn Fawn stitched heart die using one of the papers from the collection. And then the sentiment also comes from the same stamp set, which I've stamped and die cut using a Lawn Fawn banner die. And then to finish off the card, I am just adding a few enamel dots. I changed my mind. I don't like the color, so I go with the darker pink. And that completes this card. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed these card kit tutorials, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.